Okay, let's unpack this. For you, we're really digging into the details of a case that um, it truly seized national attention.
It really did.
Not just because it was tragic, which it absolutely was, but because of this incredibly powerful detail right at the heart of it.
Mm.
So this deep dive, like always, takes your sources, pulls out the most important bits of knowledge and insight, cutting through the noise.
And this one, it's a poignant story. Happened in Central Texas. It gets into some really unsettling stuff about human nature, loyalty, and betrayal.
Deep betrayal. Again, apparently like any other calm spring day. But beneath all that, this dark story. Love, betrayal, tragedy, and this loyalty that, well, maybe only a dog can give.
Yeah, I was just waiting to emerge. What's striking, I think, is how quickly things escalate, from a quiet personal life to a full-blown police investigation.
And how one unexpected element just changes everything.
Completely.
So this is the story of Mandy Rose Reynolds and her dog, Titan. He was the silent witness who never left her side.
Mandy was, what, 26?
Sorry?
From Idaho originally?
Yeah, just 26. People described her as full of life, laughter, big dreams. She'd moved to San Marcos, Texas, looking for a fresh start.
Right, that riverfront town, a new beginning.
Exactly, and she had this modest apartment and her little white dog, a mini labradoodle named Titan. He wasn't just a pet.
No, definitely family. You hear that a lot. Neighbors saw them walk in all the time, Mandy humming, Titan trotting alongside her. Her life sounds like it was simple, but really meaningful.
Yeah, dreams of going back to school, working part-time jobs. Her friends said she was just nurturing, genuine, compassionate, had this bright energy about her.
Which makes what happened next even harder to understand.
Right, because even the brightest lights can, well, attract shadows. And in Mandy's life, that shadow was her cousin, Derek Joseph Dinho.
Her cousin, he was 29.
And he had a troubled past. That's putting it mildly, I think. A pretty significant criminal history, theft, drug charges.
He'd spent more time locked up than with family, from what the sources say.
Which really makes you think, doesn't it? About that tension between family loyalty and maybe self-preservation.
It does. And Mandy's decision here is just, it's so poignant.
Yeah.
Because people warned her, maybe even her own gut feeling was telling her something.
But she let him into her life anyway.
Yeah, she was trusting, hopeful, believed in second chances, It's admirable, but...
Heartbreaking in this context.
Yeah.
She drove all the way to Kansas in late March 2023 to pick him up, to bring him back to Texas.
And that kindness, that belief in redemption, it set the stage for tragedy. We see this sometimes, that empathy trap, wanting to help overrides maybe unnecessary caution.
And then, just a couple of weeks later, things shifted. Mandy grew distant, stopped replying to texts.
That's when her father made that public plea on social media.
Yeah, saying she was scared of Derek.
Yeah.
That she needed him out of her life. It really highlights that conflict, doesn't it? Family loyalty versus personal safety.
A terrible conflict. And for Mandy, that line, that tension, it became a fatal turning point.
It really did. Fast forward to April 5th, 2023, Robinson, Texas. A call comes in reporting a small brush fire out in some remote field.
Just a routine call, firefighters thought, but when they got there, it was anything but routine.
No. Amidst the charred grass, they found this large blue plastic storage bin. Its edges were melted from the fire.
And inside, the badly burned remains of a young woman.
Just horrific. But then there was something else. Right there, next to that container.
Titan, Mandy's dog.
Her little white labradoodle. He was pacing frantically, barking. Wouldn't take water or food from the firefighters, just steadfastly guarding her makeshift grave.
He had no collar on him.
No collar. But crucially, he had microchip. The authorities scanned it.
And immediately they knew.
They knew it was Mandy Rose Reynolds.
And that's where Titan's presence becomes just pivotal. It wasn't just symbolic loyalty, though it was certainly that. It was instrumental.
How so, exactly?
Well, think about it. A microchip, unlike a collar, it can't just be removed or lost in a fire, usually. It's permanent under the skin. It directly linked Titan, and therefore the location, to Mandy's registered details.
So no waiting for identification.
Exactly. It cut through what could have been weeks, maybe months, of trying to identify Jane Doe remains. His loyalty, his refusal to leave her side, it gave them her name almost instantly.
Wow. Allowing them to trace her last movements right away.
Precisely. It launched a focused investigation immediately.
So once they knew it was Mandy, the investigation kicked into high gear. Detectives went straight to her apartment in San Marcos.
And they found it practically empty.
Yeah, her stuff was gone. Her car, a black Honda Accord, also missing. It was obvious someone had tried to just erase her existence.
But they rarely think of everything, do they? Even with careful planning, small details start to emerge.
Like surveillance footage.
Exactly. Detectives started coordinating with nearby areas, and footage from a Walmart in Robinson, Texas, the same town where the body was found, became critical.
What did it show?
It showed a man buying items that were chillingly familiar. A large blue plastic storage bin, gasoline, and a shovel.
Let me guess.
Later identified as Derek Daniel. The pieces were falling into place. Derek himself, though, he'd vanished.
It just shows, doesn't it, how meticulous plans can be undone by simple things, like a store camera. But the chase was on.
It was. Just 3 days after Mandy's body was discovered, April 8th, her black Honda Accord was spotted. But not in Texas.
Where?
Wichita, Kansas, where she'd picked him up.
Oh, wow. So police tried to stop the car.
They did. And the driver floored it, led them on a high-speed chase, apparently over 100 miles per hour.
Incredible. How did it end?
The chase ended after Derek crashed the car. He tried to run, tried to hide in a nearby grocery store, believe it or not.
Didn't work, I take it.
No. Police arrested him right there. And inside the crashed Honda,
What did they find?
a .3880 Serber pistol. Forensic tests later confirmed it. That was the weapon used to kill Mandy.
So the footage, the chase, the gun,
Yeah.
it all connected back to him.
Absolutely. The forensic evidence, the timeline, the swift police work, it all came together to point directly at Derek.
He was then extradited back to Texas.
Yeah.
Faced charges that, well, painted a horrifying picture.
The evidence was overwhelming, really. Surveillance, ballistics, DNA, it all screamed premeditation.
Right. Prosecutors argued this wasn't some spontaneous act. It was calculated. Derek manipulated Mandy's kindness, her trust,
Yeah.
acted out of greed, maybe anger, maybe something worse.
The bin, the gasoline, finding that secluded field, it was all part of a plan to make her disappear. Utterly.
And that brings us back again to Titan, doesn't it?
It really does. His unwavering presence right there at the scene, that was a crucial first step. The reason she was identified so quickly, he guided the police from the very start.
His loyalty was the key that unlocked the whole case, in a way.
You could absolutely say that. He ensured she wasn't just an unknown victim lost to a remote field.
Then came the trial in November 2024, after months of proceedings.
Derek Daniel was found guilty, sentenced to life in prison, crucially, without the possibility of parole.
I imagine the courtroom.
Reports say it was silent when the verdict was read. Mandy's family was there, holding each other. Tears, relief, grief, all mixed together. Justice as much as the system can provide it.
And Titan, what happened to him?
After the trial, he was returned to Mandy's family. They said he was, well, changed, quieter, as if he carried the grief too. But he was loved, safe, finally.
The media called him the dog who refused to leave. He became this symbol, didn't he?
A powerful symbol of loyalty, a creature without words, but whose actions spoke volumes, whose soul, you could say, wouldn't let Mandy be forgotten. It makes you think about connection beyond just human language.
Mandy's impact, it lives on. Quietly, maybe? In the hearts of those who knew her. In the story of the dogs who never gave up on her, communities remember her not just as a victim, but as that young woman full of hope, kindness, courage even.
Yeah, it's more than a headline, isn't it? It reflects on choices, on trust, on what it means to be human, or maybe even more than human. In Titan's case, it shows those threads of light, even in profound tragedy.
And that final poignant detail. Mandy Rose Reynolds wasn't alone in the end.
No, Titan made absolutely sure of that.
So we've taken a deep dive into the Mandy Rose Reynolds story. It's a narrative that really reminds you of how fragile trust can be, but also how incredibly powerful loyalty is.
We've explored the tragic choices, the meticulous investigation, and that steadfast presence of Titan, which ultimately pointed towards justice. It's a story that really asks you to think about those unseen bonds that connect us.
Maybe even the heroes we don't always recognize.
Exactly.
So what does Mandy's story, and especially Titan's quiet heroism, make you reflect on? When you think about loyalty, especially facing such a profound betrayal.
Or maybe, how often do these seemingly small details, the unremarked things, like a dog at a crime scene, how often do they become the most pivotal points in uncovering the truth?
A lot to think about there. We hope this conversation has given you much to ponder. Thank you for joining us.
If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into more cases like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like the video if you found the story compelling, and share it with your friends and family who might be interested in true crime and mysteries. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with all our latest content and join a growing community of curious minds exploring the most fascinating cases. Click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything.